Okay, so I seen you were going off in the background about that intro. Look.
Yes, I was like, oh my god, looks so cute. I love it.
Okay, all right. Okay, so as I said, welcome back to Unfiltered Unspoken Podcast. We're going to continue to share life experience of others in hopes that someone is going to start the journey to healing. Kaylin, we booked back in March. You are our last episode of the year, so this is a honor. Yay. And we kept it through. It's just it's such a blessing. So we want to bring you up. It's Kaylina, right?
Yeah,
Am I saying
Kellina.
that right?
Yeah.
Kellina Powell. Kellina Powell, she has a awesome, amazing story, life experience to tell, just like all of our other wonderful guests. And she's a testimony. And we just can't wait to hear what you have to say. So I'm going to bring Kaylina up and I'm going to let her tell her a little bit about herself. And then, as you know, Sid is going to kick off the first question.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited to be here. And yeah, it's back in March. I booked this. But I'm so excited to tell each one of you who I am. So the person you're like, oh, who is Kellina? I am an international speaker, author of Every Day I Am Just Stuff. And as well, I'm a one-on-one coach. So I coach people with young adults who have a disability and those without a disability as well. And lastly, I do a lot of consulting calls with audiologists and hire companies how to be inclusive with the deaf community and as well had other disabilities as well. Thank you.
Well, that is a wonderful introduction. Thank you again for joining us here on Unfiltered Unspoken. But we always do like to start from the beginning. Um, so, what was life like growing up? Did you suffer any trauma growing up? What was the home structure like? Tell us a little bit about that.
For sure. So my story is very interesting because I actually became deaf at the age of 4. So I was not born deaf. So I actually had an infection due to the daycare not following the instruction regarding to the air drops in both of my ears. Yes, it is crazy. And so what happened afterward was I was a very happy child. I was I was outgoing, and all of a sudden everything went downhill for me. I was in a roller coaster emotion because I used to be talking to people, but now I just hate it because of my hearing aid. And when I first got my hearing aid, I actually struggle a lot with my speech. So there are times where when I pronounce certain words to my friends when I was growing up, some people used to bully me due to my speech and my deafness. And it was very tough when I was growing up. Being bullied was definitely the biggest thing I struggled a lot. And this is where it caused my mental health a lot, especially as a deaf person. Overall, I did have obstacles in schools and meeting friends. However, I did never allow it to stop me from moving forward. But I'm grateful for my family because they're the one that kept me really strong and uplift me, making sure that I am keep going. My family is literally a Caribbean family, so I think we all know. So the Caribbean family, we don't take anything for granted. We always make sure that we all bring in everybody together as a community and move forward. So that's how it works for me.
Okay, perfect. So, your daycare. So you became deaf because your daycare did not follow instructions on putting eardrops in your ears. What did your family do when they realized that the daycare was at fault for you becoming deaf at the age of 4?
So what happened was because I was my family really taught me a lot about talking. So I was a very talky kid. So I remember so this is how it happened. So we got lucky, however, not so lucky. So I was watching TV. My mom was calling me. As soon as I got home from daycare, she calls me. But then I didn't hear her. So she tapped me on the shoulder and she said, Clean, I've been calling you. So I looked at my mom and dead in the face and I said, Mom, I can't hear you. And my mom was like, You're lying. So she called my grandmother. Luckily, my grandma was a nurse at the time. Thank goodness. So my grandma took the phone. My mom took the phone and gave it to me so I can hear my grandma. I know my grandma's voice off of my head. Like I know it's my grandma. And and then my mom said it's your grandma. And it said grandma because I remember her phone number, her cell phone number. And I'm like, okay, it's grandma. So I tried to talk to my grandma and I realized I can't hear her. So I said, Grandma, I can't hear you. And my grandma freaked out. And I passed the phone back. I came. My mom's frustrated. I don't know what my mom did after. And I think my mom was devastated. She's like, what do we do now? So my grandma rushed home from the hospital, from her work. And we went straight to my family doctor right away. And my family doctor said, unfortunately, it's too late. There's nothing we can do. So the good thing that I was actually watching TV, my mom grabbed me. And so what it did afterward, that I no longer go to the daycare no more. After what just happened to me, I think my family did try to sue them, but I'm not sure what happened afterward. But everything, my daycare journey, knowing that my family go to daycare no more.
No, understandable, understandable. Um, Now, how do I want to how do I want to put this? Once it was discovered that you had lost your hearing, um, did your family go into any financial crisis or anything like that with the new kind of flow of things and your needs and necessities, or were they able to obtain that from the responsibility being on the daycare?
So it was a lot because my mom was in college when she had me. So it was very tough on my mom because, again, I'm the only person in my family that is deaf. My family had no idea what they were doing. My family doctor right away, because I got my hearing a week after became deaf. So we saw an audiologist very quick than I expected us to see one. And so when we got to that, my mom was actually redirected. Thankfully, my mom was in college, so she was able to get access to a different resources for deaf people. So grateful that my mom had the access, and also my grandma, because my grandma worked as a nurse too. So she was able to get a lot of resources and try to figure out, okay, how can we get Kellina into her community? How can we help Kellina? So my family was confused what to do with me at this point. So the audiologist recommended a few resources. My mom, however, she had to figure out, okay, career change. How am I supposed to provide for a disabled child? What am I going to do? What career can help me to get into something that they will allow me to be able to provide for my daughter that's disabled. So, so my mom tried to do a lot of school. My mom used to work 3 or 4 jobs. I remember my grandma was a nurse, and then she ended up switching to nursing home, which is, but she didn't work in a nursing home, but she would go to people's home, and my grandma used to bring me because again, we had to figure out how to afford my hearing aid. And because hearing aid batteries are like $20 each year, which is insane. That's like $40. So my family spent over $100 on me. Like it's insane. I was like, what? And so, they try to navigate the finance, to try to figure it out, try to help me get into like a deaf school. So I was able to be enrolled into a deaf school that was 30 minutes from me. However, because of the distance, they put me in a deaf school in the morning and then a hearing school in the afternoon. So it was helpful in a way because that way it could help me to understand who I am as a deaf person and how am I different in the deaf school and the hearing school.
So, I'm so glad that your family reacted fast to get you the help that you needed, because some families would have ignored it and just
Right.
allowed it to go on longer. So it's a blessing your family reacted fast. So I want to go back a little into the childhood with the changes. So you go from this happy, bubbly kid, you were talking a lot. So how did the deafness affect your talking, and your ability to get words out or express yourself to others?
So a lot of people don't know this. So when someone loses their hearing, the words and sound is different. So what my audiologist recommends my family was to have a speech therapist for me. And that's when I started to talk a little bit better. However, my speech is still not the same as I was as a 4-year-old before I became deaf. It's very different. For the experience with the speech therapist, it was very good. But however, it took me time to get comfortable saying certain words. Yes, I was still talking a little bit there and then, but I wasn't like 100% like I am when I was like 10 years old. Because 10 year old, I was very confident, very out there. So it took a very, very long time for me to really truly understand and hear different type of words and for me to navigate into the hearing world full time, because I went to the hearing world full time after grade 3. So that's when I knew I had to like buckle up and learn how to interact with the hearing person versus the deaf person. So it's very hard in the beginning. However, I had a really good support in my family. They always do practice with me at home, always making sure I am still active with my speech and still talking.
What as a child, outside of kids just being cruel kids that they are, what were some of your, I guess, bigger challenges, with losing your hearing? What things did you find the hardest? And kind of the things that were hardest to acclimate to, I should say.
There's a lot of things that were hard, to be honest. Everything was hard for me. Everything was. Even when I have to be on my own in school, but what makes it even 10 times harder for me as a deaf person who was going to the hearing school full time. That was the hardest thing for me because I had to learn how to advocate for myself without my family there. My family was always on my corner if I need something. They know what to do. I didn't know how to do it. So I remember one time a teacher did not want to wear a microphone for me because he thought it was relevant. So I remember one time my teacher called me without the microphone so I could hear. A friend of mine beside me, who is my best friend till this day, she's like, the teacher's calling you. And I was like, I cannot hear him. He did not have the microphone on, so I can't hear. So and then he came to me, tapped my shoulder, like, Kellina, I've been calling with an attitude. So and I give attitude right back, and that's something my family always taught me. If someone give you attitude, you give attitude back. So I said, okay. So I give an attitude back, and I said, sir, you did not have the microphone on. What do you want me to do? And so he was so rude and got up that and told me to go to the principal office. So right there, I lost my confidence in myself to advocate for myself. And right there, as a little kid, I don't know any better. I didn't know, like, I thought, getting in trouble would, I can't advocate for myself. And that was something the hardest for me to learn during my journey because of that one little accident that the teacher could have just simply put on a microphone for me. It was advocating for myself. Um, I did have a friend. I have a great group of friends who were supporting me even when I was bullied, and it was hard for me to even ask the teacher and say, "Hey, like I've been bullied." Sometimes the teacher pushed underneath the rug, and so that one day my mom was just graduating from social work, and my mom showed up one day with a badge, and she's like, "Listen, I'm here for Kellina Powell." They really thought she was just a worker. So if you see my mom's face, you were the way they were talking about me to her. My mom was like, yeah, well, guess what? That's my daughter you're talking about. And the principal was like, I'm so sorry, like all these things. And so my mom just furious and said, if any more trouble happened again to my child, and what's crazy because I actually was physically bullied. Like I got beat up really bad at the point where I went into the hospital. And so the kids were, yeah, it was really bad. And I don't know why. And so my mom didn't know. Obviously, she didn't know all these was happening, and the principal finally solved the problem. Called the parents to come to the office, come to the school, because everybody needs to have a conversation. Why is my child the only one being bullied compared to other kids? And so it's funny when we all had a conversation with the principal. The principal said, "Oh, Clea never asked, like what? I don't know. Like I never really like told the teacher, but I said yes, I did multiple times. You never did anything. What do you want? What do you want a little kid to do?" And so it was very devastating for me to know that like I cannot advocate for myself when I was young, just because of the one teacher. So it was hard for me to advocate for myself.
Okay. So, and I wanted to chime into that. The bullying, did the bullying come because of the disability of being deaf? So
Yeah,
kids were making fun of you and picking on you?
yeah.
Can you let the audience know some of the bullying and how it affected you and anyone that's listening that's going deaf? Can you give them like some how to maneuver through that or actions that they can take within the school to help them say, "Hey, I'm being bullied. I'm having hearing issues. The kids are picking on me."
So what I so I was being bullied to the point where I would push down the hill where the rocks were. So my arm was bruised. It was bleeding. It was bad. And so I remember I had a few of my friends, especially my best friend. She would. So I guess the next day she would push them the hill with me. I know I shouldn't be doing that. And so I said, yeah, like this is what you get, right? So then that was funny because I did complain to the teacher I would push down the hill. She didn't see the bruises. But she's like, oh, well, just stop, like, just, and then she would bring the other kids to apologize to me to my face, but the kids were laughing, and she didn't even do anything. It's like, oh, they just can't, they just, what? And so, mind you, I'm a young kid, I'm very mature for my age because of my disability. I had to grow up fast because I have all these things on my plate. And so the teacher didn't really do much, to be honest with you guys. Nothing at all. I remember, and that's when my mom showed up with the batch situation. My mom literally sat down with every single parent child that's been bullied with me. My mom made it very clear: if any of your kids bullied my kids again, I will be coming to your house and be like, something's wrong with your kid. So that's how it was solved, realistically. But the thing is, with the problem with the bullying is that the teachers are never paying attention when in the playground. That's the problem. Teachers act like they have four eyes, and I said, you do not have four eyes, teachers. Like, you have two eyes. How can you see? And a lot of the time, teachers don't pay attention. Even if they do try to stop the problem is never stopped. It gets worse. And a lot of times, teachers do not know how to solve problems the correct way. They solve it in the wrong way. And so I remember one time I was playing soccer, for example. I think I was in grade five. That's in grade five. We're playing soccer with everybody, normal, and so one of we had to pick team, and a lot of this one player didn't want to choose me because I'm deaf, and they're like, no, Kellina can't hear us because we're on the soccer field. So I only played one or two times. So right there, I wasn't able to participate a lot, and obviously it leads me to really like confuse who I am as a person because I was like, well, I mean, I can't hear on the field. What am I supposed to do?
I think that's really crazy that adults did not interject more because that's that's insane. Like, you know, but what is the, I guess the differences, I guess with the hearing aid, like, are you able to hear at like a 100% level, or what is the differences between a natural hearing person and a deaf person, well, with the implant?
Okay, so there are two different equipment for a deaf person. So the first one is called cochlear implant. What is cochlear implant? Cochlear implant is where you do surgery in your ears. The second thing is what I have is called hearing aid. So I just take it out and put it in anytime I want. With the hearing aid, it's very similar to cochlear implant, very similar. However, the only difference is that one do surgery, the other one doesn't do surgery. And so I know a lot of people ask me that. So for me, my term is hard of hearing. So I can hear 100% with my hearing aid, but without my hearing aid, I can't hear at all. And then if someone identifies themselves as a deaf person, it means that they do not have cochlear implant or hearing aid on their ears. It means they're completely deaf, where they rely on lip reading, ASL, and that's it. So that's the only difference between deaf individual and a hard of hearing person with a hearing aid. And a lot of time people can hear 50% with the hearing aid or cochlear implant. For me, I hear 100% with my hearing aid.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So you get that confidence back a lot being able to hear. So did you learn sign language as well with the hearing aid? So do you know both? Because your parents move fast. So is that a part? Is the sign language?
So when I went to the deaf school, I did learn sign language.
Mhm.
However, when I went to the hearing school, I lost it because there were no ASL classes for me to continue. So my family, unfortunately, because they were so busy trying to make sure I am okay, and make sure I'm able to get into the support system. And it was a lot for them, so they were not able to teach me after where I could have learned it in school. So yeah.
Now, what was, or I guess, what is your, since you have been, hard of hearing or deaf for so long, um, was there any reasoning as to why you choose a hearing aid versus the cochlear implant? I know sometimes with certain like disabilities, some people weirdly just feel like, I don't want to be fixed, or like I'm not going to be part of that community anymore. You know what I mean? So, was there a particular reason why you chose to, have a more temporary solution versus the, surgery where that's more permanent?
I am terrified of surgery, to be honest with everybody. I am terrified. I do not like surgery. You will never see me on the table. Never. So, the reason why I didn't really go for cochlear implant is because of my hearing level. So it's important to understand your hearing level before you get anything in your ear. Because I feel like if you get something for yourself and it's something that you don't need, why would you use it, right? So for me, I didn't need it at the time when I was younger because I became deaf at age of 4. But now that I'm getting older, a lot of people ask me like, would you consider getting a cochlear implant? Now that I am older, my hearing's gonna drop even more. That's another thing I didn't realize. When you get older, your hearing drops, especially for a deaf person. It happened. My hearing dropped a couple of years ago. It really did. And that's when my audiologist asked me, would you do it? And I said, no, you will never see me on the table. I do not do surgery, sir. And he's like, okay. But at the same time, for me, it's too much. And I seen the surgery on YouTube, and I was like, I don't think I'm doing that. So, yeah. But everybody needs are different. Again, it depends on the person hearing loss.
Okay. So I want to go back really quick because at the age of you went into elementary
Mm-hmm.
at grade 3, right? I mean into a hearing school at the age of 3, correct? I mean
Yeah,
third
grade 3.
grade, third grade,
Grade 3.
grade 3.
Yeah.
So in 5th grade, were you still in the hearing school as well?
Yeah.
So you were being picked on in a special needs school for your disability. So I'm assuming that other kids had special needs, or were you mixed with all different kids?
So in the deaf school, I was mixed with all the other kids who have different disabilities. So I was with them until grade 3. So when I was in, so I think it was fall term, I was transferred to the hearing school full time in grade 3. So in grade 3 in the hearing school, I was picked on a lot, like consistent. But I was not picked on in the deaf school. I didn't know.
So there are other kids in the hearing school with similar issues, and they're picking on you, and they have disabilities as well.
No, no, I was never picked on in the deaf school. No, the deaf school was like my favorite school. It was
Okay,
just
I
the
mean
hearing
in
school.
in 5th grade, right?
Yeah, fifth grade
So a
it was
lot of
in the hearing school.
so a lot of the kids had hearing issues in the school.
In the hearing school?
Yeah.
No, I was the only one that was deaf.
Hearing
Oh,
school is like,
okay.
I don't want to say normal, but
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
people that
Yeah, so I was
without
trying
being
to
deaf.
get okay, yeah, so I was just trying to get clarity like on the different wow, they are so that's just so sad. That's so
It is.
sad.
It is.
So did you get bullied by well the one teacher, but did you get bullied by a lot of teachers or they just didn't understand?
They just didn't understand. I feel like I wasn't bullied. They just didn't know what to do because I was the first, again, a deaf person in the classroom. I remember this one teacher. She came up to me in grade 5, and she knew I was bright and bullying, but she knew I had a mouth. I would speak up for myself. In grade 5, that's when I built my confidence. I'm like, do not talk to me like that. My family taught me, and they said, let your teacher know they could not talk to you like that. So I said, okay. So I one time she was a resource teacher for me in grade 5, and she said to me, "You're super bright. Keep doing what you're doing." And she literally said to me, "The reason why all these teachers don't understand nothing about you is because they never had a deaf person or a deaf student in the school."
It's their job to learn. it's
Yeah.
it's their job. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people that will probably not experience a deaf person, but that does not change how you treat them. once you do.
Exactly.
Agreed. It's like you have to adapt to the situation. So it's like everyone should have been adapted. It's like, eh, sorry to say, but you deserve those accommodations,
Exactly.
regardless if they know or not. It's like you have to learn. How old are you, Kaylin? If you don't mind asking, if
I'm
mind me
26.
ask,
I'm 26.
26. Okay, so you're like not too long out of like this whole transition piece of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just feel like she's young enough that where the deafness issue is not nothing new. By the time that you started school, and then I'm on top of that, I'm pretty sure like you might have been the only deaf child, but I'm sure there's some other child with some other sort of disability, that they could have exercised their empathy with, and just how to learn new techniques with children that need special things. So I just think that's ridiculous, and I'm really sorry you had to go through that. But it really seems some like old school stuff. Like I can see it,
Right.
40 years
Right.
old.
But
Yeah.
Like okay, but
yeah,
Yeah. Like in
but see now,
2023, it was like, okay.
yeah, but see now they have Google, so it's like, geez, you could have Googled that at your. I mean, when back when I went to school, a little different, right? But for you, they could have Googled how to assess a child with deaf needs. Like it's
mhm.
simple.
I
It's
mean,
so funny. It's so funny because I do have a story for you guys. So it was really crazy because I had a guidance counselor who didn't believe in me. Like another teacher's bullying me now. I never get a break from bullying from teachers. I really never had, and it's so sad because I was like, how like I wanted to yell. I wanted to punch someone, and I was just like, this is enough. This is 2020 something right now. You have Google, we have internet. We don't know where. How are you a teacher? You go to have go to school. You know how sometimes teachers be like, oh yeah, I have this, I have this, I have this, I have this. Okay, but you're not acceptable at all. How are you doing that if you're a teacher? And that was my biggest question to a lot of the teachers I talked to. And so back to the story with my guiding counselor. She never believed in me. The point where she forgot to put my grades in for post secondary. I got 3 mails saying that I'm declined or rejected because they didn't get my grade. I went to her literally the next day. Imagine, remember I told you guys I was scared. I never went up to my teacher. For the very first time, I went up to her with super confident, but I try not to cry because this is my goal. This is my dream. Like, why are you screwing my dream over? And so I went up to her and I said, Miss, what is this? Why am I getting 3 mails? Not just 1 mail, 3. I'm rejected all the schools I applied for. She's like, oh, I forgot. You have 2 last names. Legally, with government, I have 2 last names, but I usually go by one. But she forgot I have 2 last names. That's what she said to me. So I said, no, man, you just didn't think I can do it. That's why you didn't put it in. Because the fact that all 3 schools did not get not one grade, like, come on. And she's like, oh, no, I lost in the office. And I said, you better fix it anyhow. And she's like, oh, actually, it's actually too late. So you're going to have to take another semester in high school. So I was like, wow, all these times I wanted, and she did tell me, it was very funny, she told me before I even applied for all these schools that I should change my career because she didn't think that this school or specific school was not going to be acceptable because of my deafness. Why are you judging me based on my disability? What career can I do and cannot do?
Did
that's
you retake that class?
Hmm?
Did you retake that class?
or the semester.
Unfortunately, I had to.
Oh,
I had to
Why?
say, yeah, I couldn't do. I so what happened was I had to retake another year. So a semester. I think I took a semester in high school. So I had to retake different classes, but I had to go back in high school do another semester because my mom was not gonna let me stay home and do nothing, right? So like my mom said, well, you gotta do something. So I tried my best to apply for college for another semester. So instead of September, they sometimes allow students to come in for January. So I tried that. It was already too late. The program was already closed because there were too much application. Yeah.
she
You could have
really could have
sued
like messed
them.
up. Like she really could have messed you up like heavily. That's insane. And then I'm just like telling you what the school might be for you. I'm just like, don't you think that as long as I've been deaf, that's something I checked on first before I decided I wanted to go. Like, I don't, I don't understand. I just think that's insane to discourage somebody that is already facing so much adversity. That's, whoo. So, with that being
Yeah.
said, you know, if you did go to college, how was that experience? I normally see that college sometimes is a little bit more open minded for people, but
Yes.
hopefully you had a good experience too.
I did. I had a good experience. I did, and I had a great disability counselor who was on my back like 24/7. She was someone that don't mess with. Like she was not joking. They were more open. I would say they were more open. They were more supporting, especially because had college and university is more lecture. So sometimes I can't hear well. So a lot of professors were very great. They provided me a lot of note taking ahead of time of class, or they done me the slideshow just ahead of class. They're really thoughtful. Except for a few of them, they didn't want to wear the speaker thing for me because they thought I was recording the lecture and get paid off from it. I don't know why. Yeah, yeah, trust me. People get like, what? Yeah, and my first year was very challenging because of this one teacher with a music class. I showed him my accommodation. He told us very first day that it was going to be a listening test. So I went up to him. I said, "Sir, I'm so sorry, but I'm hard of hearing. Is it possible I can do a written test?" He said, "Oh, you can try listen. You hear me fine in class." At the third, I'm sitting at the front of the stage. For a test, you're going to move us around. So who knows where I'm going to be moving to unless you provide me a special seat. But a lot of time, university and college, they just forget because we're just a number to them, right? And so mid-December, I got my midterm and I was passing. However, I noticed that he still didn't give me a written test, and I went to my disability counselor, and she said, "Oh, I've already sent him an email about your accommodation and what you need from the very beginning of the school year." He didn't even bother opening the email. He just said he opened email probably when I even brought it up to him. He said, "Oh yeah, so sorry, I've been so busy, blah 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 blah." So my guidance counselor got upset because she said, "Hey, but you're giving a student who is deaf for a listening test. Do you make sense? Does that make sense?" So, and then he said, "Oh, but she's doing fine. She's trying, blah, 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 blah." Now, end of semester now, I failed the course because this one teacher didn't want to accommodate me. My disability counselor took it to the next level. She was like, "Good, because you didn't answer my emails when I physically told you that students were deaf. Two, we're going to take it to the board members because you did not do your job correctly. Three, you discriminate the child based off their disability because you think she can do it, but we're telling you she cannot. Give her a written one." And we took it to the board. He didn't even care because I remember I went up to him like, "Sir, what are you doing?" Like, give me a written one. He's like, "Oh no, I totally forgot." Like, he would give me a lot of attitude in school. And so we took it to the board member. The board member was disgusting. Like, they're like, "What?" And so, like, you know what? They apologized to me. They're like, "You know what, Kellina? He done suspension. We will drop that grade off your record." Did I say thank you? Because of my disability counselor who was on my butt, and she was like, "No, we're gonna get this done."
So, what happened to him? Because a lot of folks watching this, if they're going through this, you're encouraging them to take the next step and step up, especially if they don't have their parents to step up for them,
Right.
right? So, what happened? Did he get a disciplinary action, or did he get off on it?
So I know that he got like a little suspension for his classes or something, but they did so that he would have to do something to take out my grade. And he had to write why was the grade was withdrawn. And I was like, "Good, write it for me, please." Because based on the school system, the professor has to withdraw it, right? Even if we brought it to the board members, he has to still do that. So he had to write his the reason why. And ever since that, I haven't heard from him. Nothing. My disability counselor tried to reach out to him after. She's rude. She's like, "So did you do it?" I'm like, "Man." She's like, "No, it's your job. Withdraw that grade. I'm watching that transcript." And I was like, "Okay, man." Do what you gotta do. And she made that work, and I was like, wow, like she's the best, like the best of the best. I couldn't thank her so much.
So colleges have disability counselors. So if
Yes,
there's a child with special needs that comes into college, they need to make sure that they ask for a disability counselor.
exactly, exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
That's good information. That's good to know. So what with having this different experience in college, feeling more supported by the public in a sense. Um, what did that open up for you? What kind of achievements were you able to make? What kind of leaps and bounds did you take at that time? Just kind of what good things happened to you, with going to college, leaving home. I'm not sure how far, you were away, but what are some good things that, came out of having that experience?
So far after that whole crazy accident with that professor, afterward I learned something. I learned that I need my disability counselor on my back 24/7. I learned that you have to keep advocating for yourself no matter what it is. That's something I learned because you just never know, and there could be a solution that could be solved and help you. And secondly, what I used that support me and helped me a lot in college was one, having note takers, two, allowing the teacher to understand and know that I am deaf and I need a PowerPoint ahead of time. I always let them know that. And also to be part of a community in your university and college. Be part of it. Look for it. Because I feel like if you don't have access to even especially the inner college, like the community and the organization, the program, it will help you to build your confidence. It will help you to learn around the school that you may not know. For example, I would participate in two programs. I had no idea that my disability counselor and like the disability department, they have disability free printing squads. I had no idea. And if I didn't join that program, and I'm like, oh, there's free printing for me, woohoo! I'm gonna go to school, print as much as I can. Like I didn't know. So always get your stuff out there. Participate in a lot of program, community, organization, even volunteer alone within the university or college. It would definitely help you a lot.
Okay, awesome. I have a really quick question because I want to do a verse. You had more issues and bullying in your more childhood coming into adulthood. You had a different experience from elementary to high school. Can you tell me some of the um, mental health issues, because I've seen that's a part of it, that elementary caused you, and did college help you through some of those mental health issues?
Yeah, so for elementary, it was not something I would comfortable speak to. I feel like a lot of time, especially in the black community, mental health is never taught about the home. We never learn how to talk, how to handle our anger, how to handle our emotion. It was never taught. But the reason for so I honestly I tried my best to keep calm when I was younger, but then when I went to high school, I witnessed a lot of people like reaction, like they're ungrateful for life or something. I don't know, something like that. And I was like, and I used to look at people. I'm like, why are you complaining? I'm the one that's struggling more than you. And then people are like, oh my god, you're right, Kellina. So I feel like when I give people that reflection of, hey, listen, I am struggling more than you. Shh. And then so I feel like that helps me a lot to really help people to understand that damn, there's someone else out there who's going through worse than me. And I feel like when I tell people that, it shows me a little bit better, like, damn, I need to be grateful a little bit more for myself. And that's helped me a lot to move forward. And even with high school, I learned that participating in sport and going out with friends improved my mental health. It helped me a lot in terms of how to advocate for myself a lot more in high school. I really did. And because I felt more confident within myself and I knew that I need support whenever I need it. And so I did have a lot of better support, I would say, better support when I was in high school than I was in elementary school. I felt like the teachers in elementary school just thought because we were a little kid, we just push it underneath the rug. And that was the huge difference for me with that because when you're older, you're gonna learn that the support system is get better and better because you learn from the past and you know what you want and what you need next. So that's really how I navigate my elementary, high school, and after.
Did you, or at what point were you comfortable enough in your journey to start dating? Like, have you reached that point, if any? Like, like what part of the journey did that happen for you?
So, dating was something I was really nervous to step into the dating world because I got my disability. I knew I'm a package. I know that. I know that. But that was hard for me to accept that I am a package. And I'm sure a lot of us have difficulty accepting who we are as a person, even though God just give it to us for whatever reason. And we're like, whatever, I have to deal with that. So I stepped into the dating world and it was challenging. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Like my face tells it all. Like I was like, oh my god, and I'm like, I'm like, no, this guy's not for me. And I'm like, oh, this guy is impatient. So for me, what I needed was a patient person or someone who is not afraid to speak up for me sometimes. And I feel like sometimes guys they don't really do good at advocating for the woman. I don't know why, but it was something that I had to learn why I was dating. Went on different dates, learn about who what I like, what I need from a partner, and of course, I'm not gonna lie to anybody. I did got rejected a lot of times because of my disability. But did that stop me from moving forward, finding better guys? No. But I knew that God had a plan for me. God maybe did not want me to be with this person. So that was something I always keep in mind in my head. Like maybe God just has something. Maybe I'll meet my future husband. And that's the one thing my family taught me was that guys will always be there when you get older. No matter what education is, what disability you have, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's who you are as a person. And if you know your worth, you know that person deserves it. And that was something I had to click in because I started dating when I was literally 19 years old. So I'm still kind of new in the dating world still, but not really. Had a 26-year-old, but I don't date much. People ask me, like, do you date as a disabled person? I said, no, I do not. Because I know I'm a package and I know it takes time for the other person to accept me for who I am. And I'm okay with that. And I tell people I'm okay with that. You know why? Because I do not like my time waste. I always tell people that. I do not like my time waste. I'm very big on time, and I think we all do not like have our time wasted. But everybody's different. I know a lot of people have not dated in a really long time. I know I have a friend of mine. She's terrified of going to the dating world because she's scared. And I told her it's okay to be scared. That fear should give you that fear because that will wake you up and say, you know what, this person's not for me. Boom, bye, right? And I always tell my friends, there's so many fish in the sea, but there's that one person can come out of that sea, can be your husband, your boyfriend. Doesn't matter.
So with the dating thing, how was your confidence in going to homecoming and the prom? Did you go to homecoming? Did you go to prom? Did someone ask you out on a date? Did your disability affect that?
So I did went to prom,
Mhm.
and no one asked me a prom date. No, no one did. It's okay. I'm happy because I wanted to go by myself. To be honest with you guys, because I just want to free up. I didn't want to worry about anybody on my back. Like, she's dancing on the dance floor. I did not want to hear no complaining because I'm the life of the party. And for me, because I come from a Caribbean background, I love music, so I like to dance by myself. I'm used to that. So I was like, no, I want to dance by myself, do my own thing. But it was really fun. However, I know some people are like, oh, but I want to go on a date. Just go by yourself. It's the best thing ever, to be honest. But yeah.
Yeah, because I watch you a lot and you're a beautiful person and you have a beautiful soul. So I want you to know that you're just beautiful. So,
Thank you.
yeah, my pleasure.
That's what I was going into, because and then on top of that, before I go into that point, um funny thing is, I thought it was just how you speak, but I can actually still hear like a Caribbean accent, and it's crazy that it occurs that way, even though you are hard of hearing, that you can still like you pick it up, like It's natural. I can hear it. I was just thinking that's just how you spoke, but now that you say it, like it definitely is a Caribbean accent. But what I was going to say was, even though it sounds like you're completely confident and you have it under control, I do just want to say, like, even though you are like technically a package, figuratively you are not, because you've taking the steps to already meet somebody halfway. Like, you are the one that has to, have the responsibility of the hearing aid, and you
Yeah.
do it, you keep it on, you do what you need to do to have it. So you already, you know what I'm saying, came in the middle to meet a hearing person. So, don't feel like you are too much, or, a package in any way, because I mean, at the end of the day, even though when you take it off, you can't hear, like, it's not like you
Right.
have no option. Not, you are Helen Keller. There's no way that you can't, make sustainable relationships. Like, they can still be heard when they need to be heard. So, don't feel like you too much, or it's a package
Thank
thing.
you.
Somebody
I
just
love.
gotta traveling to the middle to meet as much as you traveling. That's it.
Thank
That is
you.
it. You are welcome. What I did, let's see. So what at this time, with your struggles and your obstacles, and then even, finding your confidence with things, what direction has that taken you, in, helping the deaf or hard of hearing community? And what do you feel like, even though we have made such leaps and bounds, for accessibility, what do you still feel like are issues, that could be fixed to make the lives of, deaf and hard of hearing a little easier?
I would definitely say education. Right? We learn education through school. I just feel like the education system needs to do better educating people about the deaf community and the disability community as a whole, not just the deaf community. I just feel like the education needs to increase a lot more than it is in school. Just like us, right? We learn about the history in school. We learn Black History Month in school, but when we learn about Black History Month, we're like, that's not right, right? So we know when we learn something, we're like, hey, this is not it. And that's the problem. There's a lot of discrimination, and there's a lot of lack of awareness, and there's a lot of lack of reputation. And the TV, Hollywood thing, movie film, like, there should be more. Why is it just only limited, right? For example, I remember people told me, like, oh my god, my favorite show was Shot Bird. I'm not sure if you guys heard of that show. It's a deaf show. It's basically a girl who's like hard of hearing, and she have a sister that was hearing, and she was switched at birth. It was very cool, and I think my mom showed me the show. She said, "Kellina, I need you to watch this for me, please." I'm like, "What am I watching, mom?" And when I saw that, my I was just a whole different person, and I was like, "Oh my god, this show helped me a lot with my life because it taught me that I'm not the only one. There should be more awareness, more reputation in the TV, because nowadays everything is technology, shows, iPad, TV, phone. It needs to be more. That's the only way that we're able to put the gap in it.
So I wanted to ask, what are you advocating for rights change for kids with or youth coming up with disabilities in school? I don't know if it's something that you have looked into or if it's too much for you, but I actually think that you would be a good advocate because you had a different experience from elementary to college. And if you get more of the resources that you had in college, it would have been healthier for you in elementary. I think that all schools should have um, a mental counselor that deals with disabilities because it will help the kids. They will fight. It's more passionate. It's a different feel. So, do you think about doing advocating rights for getting laws changed? I mean, we have certain criterias that catch it. Like here, I don't. There we have an IEP.
Yes,
So I
IEP,
don't know.
exactly. We have
Okay,
that. Yeah.
yeah. So, and the IEP actually has a lot of laws and
No.
protection around the youth. So, did you enforce? Your mom seemed like she didn't play? So, did you enforce those boundaries within the
Yes.
IEP?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
We did a lot. That's why my family got frustrated because they're like, she had an IEP in high school. What is the issue here? And that where the biggest problem is that a lot of teachers don't take the IEP serious. They just think
Mhm.
IEP is just there. And it's like, no, they're not just there. They're there for to help the student. And I noticed
Mhm.
too is that when they, I know once a year we create the IEP, we do it. A lot of times there's not a good conversation between the teacher and the parent and the student in the meeting room. It's always
Mhm.
either the parent or the teacher speaking to each other. Not, I'm never in that. And I didn't even realize that until I started this industry. I taught a lot of IEP teachers. You need students in the meeting. My mom always makes sure I participate in every single meeting. Even though I had class, mom didn't even care. She's like, I don't care if you have class. You need to come because it's about you.
That's interesting because the reason why I know about the IEPs is because my son went through IEPs and he was in every single meeting. We made decisions, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm proud of your mother because I fought for my son too. I did not take no trash, but Fairfax County's public school systems did a pretty good job with his IEP. But for the
Mm-hmm.
teachers that didn't know, we got them right. Like I would go to the
Exactly. You
superintendent's
have to.
office. Yeah, so even you youth that are going through disabilities, and this is for the parents, and I'm glad you brought up key points about your moms. Parents have to be involved with these IEPs and the youth that
Always.
are on disabilities. So really quick, can you like tell the audience how important for parents that have kids with special needs that are IEPs, how it's important for them to enforce those rules within the IEPs?
Just give me 1 second. I'm gonna go get a charger. But I'm gonna turn off my camera. But I'm gonna be. Hold on. The reason why it's important for families to be involved, whether it's parents or grandparents, it's very important because one, the students need to understand what is being changed. If we don't understand what changed in the IEP, we have no clue what we're bringing into the table, especially in school, in class. Third, second, teachers will think, okay, yeah, well, this student is not here. I'm going to do whatever I want. No. And third, it's super important because we want to make sure that the student can get feedback. It's very important that students are able to provide feedback to teachers, especially how they teach. If we don't get feedback from your child or student, how are you supposed to help them? How are you supposed to create a better IEP for that child? How? Without them being there. It doesn't work. So it's very important that we all parents always include every child in the IEP meeting. I don't care what the teacher go, oh, we don't need him in here. I don't care because one of the teachers did tell my mom that like, oh, we don't need Kellina in today. My mom looked at the teacher like, are you the mom or I'm the mom? Okay, no, my daughter will come today. So my mom makes sure. So do not let any teacher try to take advantage of the IEP, especially if you never had this discussion with your child. Some teachers, no disrespect to teachers, I love teachers to death. Sometimes they may not follow your rule or even your child wish it.
Dimitri, did you want to go into your
Yep,
question? What
yep.
time it is? Okay.
Okay, yeah, so we're almost at time, and I always want to capture this question. Wonderful interview. Thank you so much for being transparent. Can you give the audience maybe two things of advice that helped you through your healing journey and to where you are at where you are now?
So my advice is one, do what you love to do. I don't care what anybody thinks or anybody say about what you like to do or don't. I have friends and family who didn't support my business journey. Can I tell you that straight up? I didn't have anybody. But it doesn't mean that you can't accomplish your goals and end goals. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, as long as you are happy. My second advice is this. It may be emotional for some of you, but this is need to be stuck. At the end of the day, tomorrow is not a promise. God may call you home tomorrow. You never know. Always live your life to the fullest. Rather you have dreams to chase, go chase it. That didn't matter because you never know when God's gonna call you home the next day.
Excellent advice. So we do like to call this part a shameless plug. As you can see, you have your banner scrolling across the bottom of the screen. You can let the viewers know how they can contact you, how they can utilize your services. You can let us know something you need, you're trying to draw traffic to, any of your projects, anything you got for sale. You got the floor, okay?
Okay, thank you. I would love for everybody to support me by, buying my book because I do want my book to be beneficial for a lot of people. I do want my book to impact you. And as well, if you are someone who is currently struggling with your mental health, you can always find me at cleanaempowermentinc.com. And also, there's a website. When you're on the website, they'll be able with disability couch coaching. So you can just click on that, and then you'll be able to get access to me. Or at the bottom of my website, I have a Gmail account, so you can always send me an email if you'd like some support. I'm here to help.
We want to thank you so much for your testimony and thank you for waiting 9 months for the interview. Thank you for holding in. I have been watching you for some time, so I want to tell you again that you're beautiful. Keep doing all the work that you're doing and impacting each others and making a change for those that are struggling with deafness. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing, and God bless you.
Thank you.
My pleasure. So we want to thank everyone for tuning into Unfiltered Unspoken Podcast. And today, if you are going through a struggle, especially deafness, I hope that you took something from Kellina's testimony. And please go follow her page because she is doing some amazing, amazing stuff in the community, speaking engagements and bringing awareness to deafness. So you can do anything, put your mind to it, because Kalina is doing it all, and it is a beautiful thing. I want to thank you for tuning in to Unfiltered, Unspoken Podcast, where we're going to continue to bring life experiences. And I want to bring Sid up really, really quick because this is actually the end of season 2, and we have done some amazing, amazing things, wonderful interviews, and we have successfully ran interviews through the entire year without missing not one. That is powerful. And we have people, and I'm catching chills right now and I'm getting emotional. I want to thank y'all because healing is important, and it started from my life journey, sharing to create such a powerful platform. And I want to thank Sid for jumping in. Me and Sid had just met, and she has been rocking since October 10th, 2022. And I want to say I love you, Sid, for jumping out there and doing something that actually you weren't ready to do, but you put your all into it. And look at you now.
Thank you, and thank everybody that has made the good fight what it is today and what it continues to be. We hope to explore higher heights this upcoming year, and get on more of your screens in different ways. So just keep supporting like you have, keep throwing people our way. Um, putting the right people in front of Demetria, and you know she know what to do once she got the right person in the room. So y'all just continue to support the way that you have. We appreciate y'all and love you so much.
Yep. And please, if you want to be a guest, please email us at Demetria at unfilteredunspoken.com. And we have a nonprofit organization, The Good Fight. Please come support us. We're doing some wonderful things in the community. Check us out on www.thegoodfight.com. There's an E on the end of good. And if you can support our nonprofit organization through GoFundMe or through our website, please check our website out. We are doing some of the most amazing things in the community, and we do need the community support so that we could continue our efforts to giving back to the youth, to giving back to life traumas, to giving back to domestic violence, and giving back to mental health. And we're not going to stop. And we have made so many accomplishments. And I want to tell you at the end of this podcast, this is a God blessing. We have hit 250 subscribers now. So please come like, share, and subscribe. I wanted to kick that news on the last episode because we just hit it 4 days ago. So y'all have a blessed day and thank you for tuning in.